may not know his name, but you do know his slogan. I sit down with Alan Kay, the man behind the If You See Something, Say Something campaign that spread the transit systems far beyond New York. Good evening and welcome to In Transit. I'm Jose Martinez. After more than a year and a half, the MTA finally has its 5-year capital program approved. A development that led the MTA's Fulton Center now links its 9 subway lines to PATH train service at the World Trade Center. When we come back, you know his slogan, but maybe not his name. Meet Alan Kay, the man behind the If You See Something, Say Something campaign. Welcome back to In Transit. I'm Jose Martinez. How about that trivia question? This week I asked, when did the MTA launch its If You See Something, Say Something campaign? The answer? That campaign was launched in 2002 so riders could help keep the mass transit system safe. If you see something, say something. There's that slogan again. It's one that's well known to any New Yorker who rides the subway or the buses, and one that's traveled far beyond the city's transit system. Joining me now on the set is Alan Kay, the advertising executive who came up with that simple 6-word slogan one day after 9/11. Alan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Good to see you.
Before we talk transit, I just want to get into your background a little bit. It's a pretty extensive and polished resume. You're in 2 advertising Hall of Fames. You have close to a half-century in the advertising business. One of your ads was named one of the 10 best Super Bowl spots of all time.
Correct.
But where does this If You See Something, Say Something slogan rank for you in all of that?
That's the one I'm proudest of, and that's the one that I feel by far has done the most good for the world.
It is one that has gone extensively around the world, been licensed by the MTA to the nation of Nigeria, I believe. I was riding the Sept train in Philadelphia a few weeks back, heard it there, as well as the T in Boston, heard it there, all over the place. Now, how did you come up with that idea and so quickly after the attacks?
Well, the day after the attack, I was very angry, as everyone was, and I wanted to do something. And the thing I know how to do best is advertising. So I felt, well, let me put my energies to that. And I wanted to do a campaign, like kind of an ounce of prevention, that if it could help prevent or avert another attack and even just save one life, it would be worthwhile. And I thought, well, what do I want to say? Unlike places like Israel, where this was very common, Americans were kind of drawn to this, so to speak, and I wanted to kind of wake them up and say, like, apathy is the enemy. So there was a phrase in World War II, loose lips sink ships. I thought it would be great if I could do a 20th century version of that, except just the opposite. That was about don't say something. If you see something, say something. Is I wanted people to say something, and it just came into my head very simply. If you see something, say something. That's what I want them to do.
It is now a long-lived campaign, one that the MTA recently amended to some degree by putting in New Yorkers in the spots. These are people who have seen something, said something. But let me ask you, do you think that it has had an impact, or do you think it's just words on a wall or on the back of a bus?
It had tremendous impact, tremendous. It went public actually during the Times Square incident when the vendor was asked by reporters, what would you tell New Yorkers? He looked at the camera and he said, if you see something, say something. That they found there was a bomb in there. It would have killed untold amount of people if it wasn't reported. And what I wanted to do was create awareness for people of what's going on in their surroundings, and it worked.
And one need look no further than the recent attacks in the Brussels metro system and past attacks on transit system in Madrid, in London, to see that these are exposed areas where people certainly should be saying something.
Yeah, that's correct. In fact, on my own, I'm doing a global campaign that picks up that point. The theme of that is they saw something, said nothing.
Very good. And one last question, real quick here. We've got only about 20 seconds left. Did you think when you created this that it would have the impact that it has had worldwide?
I hoped it would, and it did.
All right then. Thanks so much for joining us here in transit. That's all the time we have for this week's show.